What's going on, everybody? Got an email today. Interesting topic here. I'm just gonna go ahead and get into it. Title of the email: Having Mixed Kids. Sent by Thomas McGill. He says, "What's up, Brayton? I have a question for your videos. You are dating a Hispanic lady. What is your opinion on having mixed kids? If you had kids with the lady, maybe your kids would look Hispanic. If you had mixed kids, would you teach them Spanish?" And then he says, "My girlfriend is Asian and we're talking about having kids so they would be mixed. Any opinion on half Asian kids or half Asians in general?" Wow. I have a few things to say about this. Interesting email. So yes, everybody knows now that I am dating a Mexican woman. She is basically, to paint a picture here, she's like half Native American, half European. So she's a typical mestizo, which, you know, like most Latinos are mestizo, which means a mix of European and like indigenous Native American type of genes. So, you know, brown skin, black hair, all that shit. Very, very attractive. In fact, the women I'm attracted to the most are typically, you know, more petite brown skin women. The women I like most are gonna be, you know, Latina, Asian, and maybe Indian as well. I like brown skin. It's nice. And yeah, you know, like if I had kids with anybody that's not white like me, you know, they wouldn't be pure. They wouldn't be a pure breed anymore. Just like if I have a glass of white milk and then I put a couple drops of chocolate syrup in there and I stir it up, it's no longer going to be purely white now, is it? It's no longer going to be pure. It's going to be a little bit brown now. But conversely, if I have a glass of chocolate syrup and I put a few drops of white milk in there, it's going to be the same color. That's just how it goes. That's just how it goes. So if a white person, a pure white person like myself, with my superior European genetics, if I mix with anybody, it could be Asian, it could be anybody, even if they're just a little bit brown, my kid most likely will not have blonde hair and blue eyes. You know, and if I had a mixed child with a Latina, would I teach them Spanish? Well, I don't think I would teach them Spanish because I'm not really a speaker of Spanish. I mean, I speak a little bit here and there, but nowhere to the point where I would ever say that I was a Spanish speaker. So therefore, the mother of the children would teach them Spanish. And absolutely, I would definitely want my kids to be bilingual. I think that being bilingual would it probably. I'm not saying that they'd be smarter people. I'm not saying that because that's not the case. I'm not saying that they'd be more intellectual or anything like that. What I'm saying is that they'd have a broader perspective, I guess, on how to like think. They'd probably have a broader perspective on how to think. And what I mean by that is the Spanish language. It's a more poetic language, I think. You know, like you can be more precise in the things you say, I think. But you can in English too. I guess my point is that language is also like a way of thinking. Does that make sense? And if you have several different ways to think in your mind, to me, that's going to be better than only one way of thinking. Does that make sense? I think it does. You guys know what the fuck I'm saying, man. Come on. Now, I used to be engaged to a black woman. And we were routinely talked about having kids. And I knew that my kids would be that, even though I'd be their white father, and they'd have a black mother, that in society, in the world, they would be automatically labeled as black. Even if they had light skin and maybe like more European features, the fact that their hair was going to be, you know, curly and puffy, and they might have different facial features than myself and their whatever, that no matter what, they always be labeled as black, even though they have a white father. And that didn't really bother me. But in hindsight, it kind of bothers me, because if I were to have kids, I don't want to have kids, just for the record, but if I were to have kids, I would want to be able to see me in them. I would want to be able to see me in them. So that's a reason that if I were to have children, I would prefer to have children with a Latina or an Asian woman, simply because as a white man, I would be able to see myself in them. Whereas if I had kids with a black woman, I just feel like they're too different in the way they look, that I would not want to have children with a black woman. It's not because I don't find black women attractive ever. There are attractive black women, but generally speaking, I'm more attracted to Latinas and Asians. And if I were to pass my genes on through an Asian or Latina, then I would be able to see myself in the child more. Now maybe that's an ego thing, maybe not, but that's just how I feel, man. And I think that a lot of other people would agree. Like, you know, I don't want to have children with a black woman and then they look like black kids, and even though I'm their father, it just, to me, it just wouldn't feel right. It just wouldn't feel right. Now, if I did have half black children, obviously I would still love them. It would not be a problem. But in hindsight, I'm glad that I did not have children with her. Not because of that, but just the type of person she was. Anyways, I digress, everybody. Now let's talk about half Asians. Now I happen to have a very good friend. His name is Bevan. And Bevan is actually the gentleman who got me started on YouTube videos in the first place. And I met him in Cambodia. He's a good buddy of mine. Shout out to you, Bevan. What's up, man? I know you're watching. He is half Asian. He has a white father and I believe a Chinese mother. And I've known other people, you know, male, female, where they have, you know, a white father or an Asian father and an Asian mother or European mother, or, you know, like a white mom, whatever. So basically, Asian parent, white parent. And I personally think that generally speaking, they're very good-looking people. I think that the Asian-European mix is a very attractive, they make attractive people. I think that mixed race people, period, tend to be better looking. You know, you could almost equate it to mixed martial arts, and I like to use this as a reference for a lot of things. You know, mixed martial arts is when you combine different martial arts together to make one. So if you have a boxer and then you have a wrestler, just for example, which is going to win the fight? Well, maybe the wrestler is going to win because he'll take down the boxer and beat him up on the ground. Maybe the boxer will knock out the wrestler. But what if you combine the two? Then you have a very good fighter. Then you have a very dangerous person. That's kind of my point. You know, I think that every race, every ethnicity, whatever you want to call it, they all have attractive features in their own way. But when you combine them together, typically mixed race people, I feel, are better looking in general. Not always, of course. But like if I were to have kids with an Asian woman, I bet we'd make some good looking kids. If I were to have kids with a Latina, I bet we'd have very good looking kids. Even though my kids would look a little bit more Hispanic or Latino, you know, like whatever the fuck you want to say, they'd still have my European features, but still have some of those like those Native American features as well. I think that half Asian, half white women are very beautiful. They're typically gorgeous. You know, that's just my opinion. So I think that any guy out there thinking about having mixed race kids should do it if you'd like, because I honestly believe that that's the way of the future anyway. There was this movie a long time ago called Bulworth, and there was this line where he said that we're all gonna fuck each other brown anyway, which is kind of true, man, because at this day and age, man, there's a lot of, you know, like these interracial couples. And by the way, the most common interracial couple in the United States is what? Can anybody guess what the most common interracial couple in the United States is? It is white man with a mestizo woman. Basically, it's a white guy with a Latina. White men and Latinas are the most common interracial relationships in this country. You know, you see it all the time, man. You see a white guy with a Latina, you see a white guy with an Asian, you see a black man with an Asian, you see a black man with a white woman, you see white men with black women, you see interracial couples out there. And that's just the way of the future, man, and I think there's really nothing wrong with that. Because we're all gonna fuck each other brown anyway, so that's just a thought of mine, man. Plus, I believe too that genetically mixed race people will be superior to non-mixed race people. You know, I'm no scientist, of course. I'm no genealogist, geneticist. you guys know what the fuck I'm talking about. But my point is that I think that mixed race people will have stronger immune systems. I think they'll be more physically capable. I think that they'll be more intelligent, probably, maybe, right? And they'll be better looking. So why not, man? Most of the people that the vast majority of people I've put my dick in have all been brown or black. The vast majority of the people that I've dicked down have been non-white people. They've been Asian, black, and now Mexican. So anyways, man, for the guy who sent the email, Thomas McGill, man, yeah, for sure have half Asian kids. I think they'll be very, very good looking, whether they're male or female. I suggest you do it, man. You know, I honestly, I think it's inevitably going to be the way of the future, man. I think it's going to be the way of the future, dude. Plus, you're not going to be inbred, right? Because a lot of societies in the world where everybody they're like the same race, a lot of times they're inbred too. And they're like unattractive looking people. It's just true, dude. You know. Anyways, man, those are my thoughts on it. I'm about to go get some Mexican pussy right now. Hope everyone has a great day. If you guys want to shoot me an email, it's going to be nojokestriking@gmail.com. Bitches. Fuck Instagram. Hit me up on Facebook, y'all. Facebook.com/NoJokeHoward. All that'll be in the box below. Peace.